That time of year again when I need to get out of the country. January and February in the UK, weather, the river's all flooded, the waves are big. There's nothing for me in the UK at all as a fishing guide, really. So I get my people together and we jet off to sunny Portugal. Not always sunny, as particularly this year, as we found out. But what it does do is give us some headspace, give us some fishing. And I actually called it the gastronomical lure tour of Portugal because it's much more about getting out of the weather and enjoying good food, good people. People are a very important part of my tour. And birds and things like that. A few clips now of birds going through. If you are a bit twitcher, then it's absolute paradise. Everything from golden eagles to tiny finches and endless ospreys. Saw the biggest bird ever. Hit this one here, the griffin, Eurasian griffin, huge vulture type creature. As you'd expect, lots of seabirds, and in one frame you can get just multiple species. Flamingos, which tends to surprise everyone, amazing when they're flying in the air. Every kind of egret and white heron that exists, pretty much, cattle egrets, great white herons, all of it. Just absolutely amazing and stunning place. The place we stay at is a guest house, or this year we stayed at guest. I might change it next year. With its own brand of humour. Interesting place in itself. Little orc there, that came into the beach to see me on Armona Island, amazing island you might have seen recently with Michael Portillo on the telly. Red-legged stilt coming up now, eagles, ospreys, red-legged stilt, endless. And I've put all these birds together at the beginning here because I couldn't even remember the timescales of when we saw them. The light in Portugal is amazing. The sunlight, the sunsets and the sunrises are just stunning. Black bass you just saw there. We got going on the freshwater side with my first week with Luke and Sandra. They're regulars of mine that come out there, and I also go play with them in Fuerteventura, which we did at the end of this tour. The fishing was quite hard. It always is. I mean, people think Portugal, wow, it must be full of fish, and it kind of is, but they're the cleverest fish you ever can imagine. We went try and get a boat trip every week. That was Algarve Seaboat Tours, Paolo the skipper. The first trip was quite hard. The guys on baits caught plenty of fish, but I'm hardcore. I stick to the lures. The boat's a Rodman 1240, beautiful boat, absolutely stunning boat, proper game boat. Right, food. The very first place we went was an old favourite, but it won't ever be visited again because that little crumb of tataki, that's not good. And that used to be one of the best restaurants in Oliao. So it's important to stay in touch with these places. I did know it had gone downhill. The guys, though, didn't, and they wanted to go back. And, of course, if they want, they go. This is the Guadiana Valley, absolutely stunning venue. This is where the eagles fly. It's also a great place for Xander. We've got a pub up the road that serves amazing food. So we pop for lunch. There's a nice Xander. The lunch there, the ribs are particularly good, I must admit. I tend to have them every time. And then every night we're coming back from wherever we've been to good food. This is the chicken shop. This is prawn kebabs. The chicken shop sells a lot more than chicken. This, though, is a breakfast that I try and get you all having on the tour. It's a prawn toasty before we head on out. And then for quite a long while, this was the best black bass with Luke there that we caught for quite a long time. Every evening we tend to meet a little Italian cafe across from before we go on, and this night we went to the G&O, the yacht club. These are the wild fish, very highly priced. That's the price, and then they'll cook it for you. Although if there's three of you sharing, it's quite reasonable. Amazing fish, though, very fresh, very good quality, and very good chefs in all the restaurants. Restaurants in Portugal, if you claim you cook food, you're good. You won't survive if you're not. There was some surprises this year, though. One particular one being the sushi house. That's a veal kebab at the G&O. Back into the fresh water because the sea wasn't really good conditions. And we caught the end of the Christmas lights, which Portugal is a very Catholic country and they make a big fuss of Christmas, and the lights are just stunning everywhere. Very pretty. I'm glad we caught the end of those. More food. That's Tataki as we should be. That's a Tasker, a very good restaurant. That's a much better plate of tuna. This is the fish restaurant.
Wow.
I'll let the audio run.
Bonito. Sargo, the red mullet, the red bream, big baler on the back there. That's a spotted bass there. Big one. Bass. I'm not sure what, banded bream maybe. Choco, cuttlefish. They're all setting up here. Octopus, dried octopuses. The mullet are mostly thin lips, I think. Choco. Chub mackerel. More breams, more mullets, more scads. Bloody great big dentex. Look at that. Soles. See the soles? Big soles. Lots of sole here. Lots of ungulates are called here. Cutlass fish. Dogfish there, already skinned. I think, maybe not. Cutlass fish. Look at these all prepared lovely. Wow. This is the alien, the blue crab. It's local from aquí. Yeah, wow. So that's an invasive species. Wow.
Despite such intense commercial pressure, the fish are everywhere. This is a walk through the harbour. Back onto the Barragem. There's a couple to fish, and I learned a lot more this trip about them. We ended up with some big numbers. Dogs are a big theme of Portugal as well. They're everywhere. They tend to be very friendly. This is of Alentejo Ferrero, a shepherding breed, and huge dog. Looks intimidating, but it's so cute. And every single one of that breed I met was just amazingly cuddly. This is the odd late. Now, note the highlight, the watermarks there on that frame. That increased massively, and since I've come back, it's increased even further. I've got an amazing shot to put at the end. Back in the restaurant for the best fish, and then back out on the sea for some actual sea fishing. Where are we here? Oh, yeah. So there are plenty of bass there, small ones, regular sea bass, plus spotted bass, although the spotted bass, it took a while to find them. Back to the reservoirs again. It's nice with the hire car. We can bounce between, in one day, we can do freshwater and sea fishing. There's a very good friend of mine with a very good restaurant, Pitel Beisha de Mar. That's a plate of tataki. Look how much there is on that. That was Caesar, the owner of this. That's orange prawns, a local dish. In last year's video, you can see that being made. Soles, I chose some soles to eat. Or no, I didn't. I think Sandra had soles that night. That's the turf and surf. That's an absolute signature dish of the restaurant. Stunning. That's the owner of the little Italian cafe, Michele, who's also an archaeologist, as well as a former actor.
It's the last village before Spain on the western side of the Guadiana. There's the Guadiana. There's Spain. That was Luke. Lovely day today, overcast. This is where John destroyed his knee last year, on this rock that we're walking up towards now. Lots of people up the end there. Very rude old men that get in your way if you catch a fish because they want to get in on the show. It's hilarious. Holki, mamy plaża, tady bude super srenda pro prakaska, dlouhou prakaska, a každý metr zajímavý.
That was some Czech narrative for Czech friends that were joining middle of the trip, some friends coming to give me a bit of a break mid-term, because it is quite hard work guiding, lot of pressure. Cats everywhere on this particular breakwater, amazing. More egret there. Sunset's just absolutely stunning, like crazy stunning. Lovely place this actually, panorama bar. Once the sun sets, this bar shuts down. It's really just. There's another of the Alentejo Ferrero, different colour one, but another very cuddly one. I've got a lot of information out this guy. It was a rare breed, and even now they're recovering. There's only 1,300 bitches registered. John and Simon are with me now, and we started quite well on the bass. No huge ones, but we found the spotted bass, we found the regular bass. and we found all sorts actually, some nasties. There are the sculpins out there. That's on a craw, bass on a craw. It works quite well there. Chicken shop doing what they do. Cooking on the wood is amazing, absolutely stunning. And the end result, wow. Then back onto the Guadiana the next morning. Probably the sea state was too much wind or something like that. It's just beautiful being up there, the bird life and everything. It looks like we didn't catch that day. I'm quite sure we did, but no. Out with Paolo again on the Algarve Seaboat Tours, a nice Sargo there. There's some red bream. In fact, this trip, a good mix of fish in there actually. We hit the red bream quite hard. None of this is wasted. It all went to local families. But me, I stay off the bait, and I fish for these Dentex. That's a pink Dentex on lures. Quite tricky. You don't catch loads, but wow, they do scrap, and they're just so pretty. Look at that long dorsal fin. I'm liking these fish more and more. Such a pretty fish, and very good eating. Very, very good eating. That was a sunrise before we went out to, I think, we went off to get the prawn toasty, but there wasn't any prawns that morning. They'd run out of prawns. So we fished anyway into the evening, and then in the evening we did find the fishes. That's a town just along from where we base. We base in Oliao. The reason we base in Oliao is there's very few English breakfasts. Go further west and it's like Blackpool. It's been like in Coletta de Fusta. Everything's English breakfasts and just Yorkshire puddings and just not what you want in Portugal. Whereas you stay close to the Spanish border, you get a much more authentic trip. This was interesting. Carp on the lure, little shad using. And this is back on the Guadiana Valley, and this was a great day, actually. Good zander there for both John and for Simon. Very good zander indeed. And then Simon took what turned out to be the only barbel of the whole trip, which was a bit of a worry. They do commercially net up there, and I did get warned that the numbers had plummeted. Little black bass now on the way to the bar which does the ribs, and one of our favourite bar people up there as well. Superbock is a great beer, and that's the local beer. Next day, on to Armona Island. Finally, we're catching fish on Armona Island. First time with Luke and Sandra, we were learning there's a sole foul hooked. But each trip out gave me more. And then we went off to a river, an estuary, where that was a bass on a little fly, where I was mullet fishing, but we caught regular bass there as well on the shads. Amazing fish again in the evening. Where was that? G&O, that's back to the yacht club, I think. Yeah, it was, because I messed up there. I bought that turbot for myself, €52. I didn't quite appreciate that was going to be the price. It wasn't that great either, I'll be really honest. Tasted a bit earthy, strangely. So we start with breakfast, but look at what we got here. It's a bit cake obsessed around here. If you like cakes, you're in heaven. We must have gone back up to the Guadiana this day because, again, that's the ribs up there. Because how it changes. So this morning was 0, and now it's 22 degrees, and we will be eating in t-shirts, possibly naked. Time will tell. We lost John at this point. He was replaced with Chris Sparks, who many of you might know from his channel Fishing with CJ, or now called Wild Waters. Worth a look there. He's got a little video of his experience. Now, this is where the weather started to deteriorate massively. A little tiny bass on the fly for Simon. And we got a hell of a lot of rain, and it changed everything. So we've come along the end of the breakwater. We've got open sea this side with very little current, quite shallow, but quite a big swell on, so not comfortable. We get very wet if we fished into that. On the inside where it's all at, check this out. That is a fast tide hitting a bank. I mean, it screams fish, but actually at the moment it's too fast for the tackle we've got to fish it. You'd need like 6-ounce slow jigs to even stand a chance of working that ground. Look at that wave and the boil off the bank. So we're going to go back up the current on that corner over there, fish that till this eases off a bit, and then come back out and try and work that bank.
to fall in that. Very slippy with algae as well, the lower path. And then at the mouth there, that's just the tide hitting the dead water and the bank at the same time. Look at that. Woo! Fishy as hell, but really hard to fish.
And in that slacker spot, there wasn't so much fish in the end, just the one comber. Back up to the odd lake. Look at the tide line there, the watermark, yeah? That is now gone. The amount of rain that's been this spring is phenomenal. It ended a 10-year drought, which is great for next year. And also, I'm going back in April for the barbel on the dry fly, spot above. The light doing its thing, just stunning, stunning, stunning. Sunrise as well was amazing. But as we slipped towards February, there was less and less quality bass. There was more smaller ones. The prawn toasty, Chris really quite enjoyed that, I think. And back to Armona Island.
So my confidence in the cloud cover has been kind of rewarded. We've made some progress with Armona. I've had 2 spotted bass, 1 regular bass, dropped 2 spotted bass. Simon's had a spotted bass, dropped 2 spotted bass. Chris, thank God, has had a spotted bass. And everyone's smiling. It's a big relief because yesterday was hard. But look at this place, it's gorgeous and with fish. And might end up being weatherproof to the point. Learnt a lot. Brilliant.
Cats are also everywhere, which is quite annoying because they're very loud at night and it echoes through the paved streets. I mentioned about weatherproof. It wasn't so weatherproof. Lovely spotted bass there for Simon. They don't grow so big. We got them mostly on metals in the fast current there, but it was a learning process. Gino again, the yacht club. It was a learning process.
You'll be all doing it. What do you think? Horrible? Bad? Oh. It's looking at me. Me, I don't want to be fat like these guys, so I'm having the healthy option.
The option. The only way to work with anyway, let's keep going back. The guys loved Armona. The weather and the rain was starting now to affect the inland waters, so really didn't leave us many options. We had rain like this for a couple of days, and it really did hit hard, the rivers and the reservoirs, which is why Chris didn't have the best of trips. He only had a couple of fish all week.
So this is flaming sausage, Portuguese flaming sausage, 2025. Different waiters, same beautiful. And here we go. Here it goes.
During the summertime, this is a little bit tough because it's very hot outside.
Uh-huh.
Now it is kind of warm.
So the curries in Portugal are really hot. Are they? Yeah. Oh. Wow, big smell, very beautiful. And there it is. Portuguese sausage 2025. Come and see Portuguese sausage 2026. It's going to taste powerful now. That is ridiculous. I don't think I've ever actually seen rain that heavy. So just doing a little review, health issues and rain and stuff messed it. We've got one more stab tomorrow morning early over on the island of Armona, but inland this is that beautiful reservoir that was very clear. It's very deep, this reservoir. It's running at, it's probably up to 50% now, directly as a result of all that rain. But there is a few bits, like when the wind's gone, we could find some clear water. it's so deep it hasn't completely coloured, and the sediment is heavy iron sediment, so it does clear quite fast. But I don't think Lee and Mark, I think it will be Monday or Tuesday before we look at any fresh water. I think we'll be sea-based until then.
Goat cheese with honey here. So you saw the strength of that rain, and it really did start to impact. This is Cantina or Christina, just across from the guest house. The best cataplanas. That isn't a cataplana, that's orange prawns again. Great dish. There's a cataplana, shellfish cataplana. If you like shellfish, that's the dish for you. Absolutely round. Chris loved it. The Vino Verde keeps flowing. Amazing drink, Vino Verde. Naturally sparkling from underripe grapes.
Chris has only gone bloody caught one on the very last morning. Let's see what it is. It's battling. Quite often shake themselves off right at the edge, so let's hope he walks out on a longer line. Walk with that wave. Go. Looks like a real bass. Whoa! Baler. Spotted bass. Sorry, man. No, I'm watching. I'm videoing. That's the problem. Well done, mister.
Mister?
Last morning. Oh, actually, this is video. So we don't see so many of them, although I did get plagued one night here on them. That is a really big octopus, and because Mark saw that documentary, he's going to release it.
I was locked down out in Portugal back in 2021, I think, and I got harassed by octopus one night. They're not unusual on this spot, so by any means. Spotted bass, they're bigger-eyed, cute, softer, great scrap, come off very easy. You drop a lot of them. You need really much softer rods than we had. But then if you hit one of the big bass, and I've seen bass to over 20 pounds in this system, you'd have a lot less control. So I'd prefer to drop a few spotteds. Back to the chicken shop. That was mixed grill, I think, that meal. Just yummy food. Oh, I had these. This is the red mullet, and they were so good. So good. Chris looking like a dude, which he is, bless him. And then back up onto the flooded Odolate. This was a recce, just having a look while the guys were doing other things. And yeah, it was screwed. It was coloured up, and that remained coloured up for a fair chunk of the trip. Shame, but you know, it just meant we did more sea fishing. That's my very good friend Eugenia. I met her the very first year I was out there, and she's so much fun. Sculpin there for Mark, I think, back on the basses. And we did take a more sea-based approach because, as you know, even that, the Odolate looks lovely, but it was heavily coloured and difficult for the lures. Lee trying to eat fish, that was a first for him. He's not a fish eater, which isn't a problem. There's plenty of meat options around, but yeah, it was funny watching him trying to eat fish. This is a problem in the whole system at this time of year, is the eelgrass. It's part of the reason there's so much life in the system, but it can mess you, and it did mess us a couple of days. We learned quite quickly that on Amona we had to pick a wind that pushed the eelgrass off away from the near bank. Get that right and you catch fish. Gurnard back there, regular bass, spotted bass. We was catching every day, not loads, but this is action when in the UK there is no action, certainly not with bass.
So we're going to round 2 at getting onto this other reservoir. Our local guy Sergio has given us a suggestion where we might be able to safely access without ropes. But I just pause because now the sun's come out. It's absolutely stunning. These hills above Silves, I mean, we got properly lost. We spent an hour and a half driving around these kind of hills, but look at them. But that's how much water we've had. This one, I'm guessing, is normally a dry river, and it's racing through. There's some ugly person from Seaford there. It's kind of pretty here. Kind of amazingly pretty. Lots of terracing going on, lots of agriculture going on, lots of electric going on, but somehow it's kind of pretty. The car we used, by the way, I don't think it's started yet. It's not full drive, sadly.
Head northwest.
Hold that there. That's it, just no.
We were desperately trying to find clear water on the inland, and there was reservoirs further west that didn't get hit so bad with the rain. This was a big mistake, though, trying to drive to them. I did 400 quid's worth of tyres. They just got slashed in the sidewalls, one punctured completely, and the onus is on yourself to replace them. But it was fun. It was fun. It was an amazing track. These are hunters' tracks, but you can navigate them. In fact, Google Maps navigates them for you, but she doesn't always get it right. It's quite funny. Very funny, but very expensive.
Yeah. Well, no, because she will do that to us. Yeah, to her, that's a right.
In 600 meters, slight right.
I've been fucked up by GPS in the forest a few times, mate.
She took me across a river once, but that was in the days of Tom.
Tom.
Do you remember them? Navigate.
I think I might open that one.
Yeah. I drowned. Don't worry, it's not my car. Things we do for a living.
You can imagine with the issues I have with my sense of direction when those GPSs came out, I was probably one of the first customers.
I think we go down in low gear on this one. Can't be off it. So on the menu it says shrimps with pork, which sounds really boring. But oh my god, the smells. I wish we had smell vision. Popular dish. And Eugenia went for a bowl of chips. And I think there'll be another litre. Salad. Oh, everything good here. Look, chips.
We did find that other reservoir, and we did attempt to access the water, but with the drought, the sides were so steep that it was dangerous, and we had to retreat. But it was a fun day out. However, the river dropped.
Coloured. The upper system's finally flushed through. Visibility is reasonable. Quite confident we're going to see fish. And just recently, the black bass were feeding already here, so maybe Lee will get his black bass here, and if not, we'll be going up to Minister some Domingos to a reservoir there, where I'm pretty sure we'll get him a bass. Amazing. I didn't think the river would cover this quickly. It's been right up in the rocks there. It was a good 3 meters up, and now it's perfect, actually. I call it perfect for Zander.
You see all kinds of seasonal changes when you're out there for so long, and this is one of the changes. The big breeding zander had moved out of this pool and had gone back to wherever they go and been replaced by smaller creatures. Concession to the guys here. I didn't force them Portuguese food every night. We went for a curry, which was particularly good. Lots of Indian cooking and Nepalese cooking in Portugal.
Very excited. And today we've got what we've been waiting for a long time. Wind directly off our back. There's no wash at the edge and we're at dead low tide. Last time we fished this, We missed a Dentex on the shad, so let's see what happens. But this chappie is so excited we're here and fishing.
No Dentex, but we did catch the usual suspects. Weavers also are quite a common fish here, greater weavers. Spider fish they're called there. They are eaten. They're reasonably tasty. But they give you a little pull even. I mean, they're not tiny. Spotted bass, even in broad daylight spotted bass. That's what I find interesting about this mark. Usually they're in the other spots where we fish them. They're evenings or early mornings in the half light. This spot you'll catch them all day long when the tide's moving. Back to the other evening estuary spot. All of these estuaries are inside the Barrier Islands, as highlighted by Michael Portillo on BBC last week on a travel show. amazing scenery, bird life. But if you're a keen angler, it's just lovely. Still haven't found the big fish, but the potential is enormous, and we saw some very good fish actually. Still learning it. Next year will be better.
That's what we call something weird and actually quite pretty. I think it's a sea slug of some description. But sadly, that one bass earlier on, and now the tide's moving, loads of eelgrass because it's such a big tide. Amazing. The things in this system are just incredible. To those of you that were on the first 2 weeks of the tour, you won't notice this place because the water's come up so much. But that ledge, off of that ledge was a 20-foot drop, and there was some dry gravel showing over by the inlet tower. Now it's over the ledge. Incredible. That's how much rain we had. That's it for the rain now, and the colour is actually dropping out. It's starting to. It's nowhere near as deep colour as it got to. I'd say within, well, certainly by the time Greg and Mitch get here, this reservoir will be available again, and we'll have to learn it from scratch. But actually, I remember a lot of the boulders we used to sit on and things like that, and they'll all now be holding spots for the black bass. Incredible. And house martins and sand martins, or maybe just house martins, starting to nest under the cooling tail now. Spring comes early here. It's arrived. Amazing.
It's Jamie and Paul. They were last year's customers. They came out doing their own thing, but we hooked up. Which led to us going to the Skylight Bar, local bar owned by a lovely guy, another Paolo. And I couldn't speak the next day for singing along. It was a great night that I regretted a lot the next day. Now, we then started, I needed more spots, and I went back, revisited some spots that I hadn't fished for a good while, and we found fish there, which was good. This is the Yacht Club again.
Wow.
This day, the guys joined Jamie and Paul. They booked for a deep water session out in 80 metres with Paolo. I didn't want to do that. I'm all about light lines, and you can't fish light lines in 80 metres. And I'm quite glad I didn't go because it wasn't a great trip. It was lumpy out there and lots of cross lines, and the guys got quite frustrated by it all. Whereas I just came and played with cows and went back up to the river, up to the Guadiana. It's just like Alentejo. The Guadiana's in Alentejo, which is above the Algarve. The Algarve's all about seafood. Alentejo's all about meat. It's all about shooting, hunting. There's deer, there's boar, there's rabbits. It's like a different country almost. Same friendly people. Great experience. I love it up there. I love everywhere in Portugal that I've visited so far, except to the west. I don't like anything Portimao, west of Portimao. It's too English, to be honest. It's not what you go abroad for. If I wanted to go somewhere to meet English people, I'd stay in Brighton. I did manage, again, a small skinny Xander myself this day, which was quite a result. And then back to Armona the next day. And then we said goodbye to Lee. And my friends, this is Sergio Malawi. He's a lovely guy. My friends from Czech came, Petra and Vercha.
Republic, Petra, ahoy. Veronica, ahoy. We still have Mark. He's flying to Sweden on Saturday. And the Vino Verde hasn't all gone. And we're in the sardine place. First time I've tried it. John and Simon tried it and loved it. So we're here having a go. I didn't. So this is a cataplana. Cataplana is the actual vessel that these are cooked in. We couldn't come here last week because we had non-fish likers. But as long as you all like fish, you will be coming here. Look at the faces. Very happy people. And the Vino Verde, we have just alcoholics we have tonight.
I wasn't technically guiding this week, but I did sneak out early hours. I'm not a great sleeper, and to push the spots in Oleal this day, and did find fish there.
The good news is they have prawns again. We're in the prawn place. Happy ladies with prawn toasties. It's coming. Fresh orange juice, freshly squeezed. Coffee good. Sun's out. It's quite warm, light winds. Wow. How's the UK? So with the girls here, I get a little bit of me time in the mornings, but it's 7 degrees this morning, and I bottled it and come for coffee first. All these racks will be full of cakes in an hour. They're getting there. The coffee's amazing. Everything amazing here, and small money. 5 o'clock in the morning it opens. Brilliant for the early starts.
Mark's last day, so I did drag him up the river with me, and he did manage a Xander.
Girls are happy. Mark's happy. Are you happy?
I don't know.
Trochę shock, no?
Yeah.
No.
I'm happy. Big.
Happy.
Mark now left us, and the girls and I, we went across to Armona and stayed over there overnight with our friend Malawi. We found a Roman amphora on the beach.
Telling me this is really old, and you're the man to ask. So, is this old? I think very old, because we don't make things like this anymore. And it's ribbed, it's got decoration, and it's been in the sea a long time. I think very old. Girls are taking the piss out of me. And tonight we have the private dining experience. There is Petra, there is Vercha, and there is nobody else at all. Except for a very noisy aeroplane. But out there is the mirrored sea because there's no wind. And, fishing rod. I don't know how that got there.
Again, the next morning I snuck out for a few hours bright and early before the girls got up, and had quite a few fish actually. Nothing special, the usual suspects, some garfish, more and more garfish starting to show as the seasons progress. Bass, spotted bass. Yeah, a lot of takes actually. Missed quite a few, dropped quite a few, and was treated to that spectacular sunrise.
So that's the island done. Next time I'm out here, it will be with Greg and Mitch. It was good this morning, the fishing. The people are lovely. They just get lovelier the more they get to know me. And that reflects on the people I bring here. I enjoy everyone here. And if you were beautiful women, of course, they'd enjoy you even more, but you're not. But yeah, brilliant weekend actually. Food was good there. First time I've eaten there. Food was good. We probably won't eat here next week because it wasn't that good. Because there's so many good restaurants in Oliao. Oh look, gorgeous woman.
I mentioned the people are a big part of my tour, and Mikhail definitely is one of the people. He's lovely, the owner of the cafe, the Italian cafe.
So
Back
I
to
often get
GNO.
asked, how do you make a woman happy? And the way to a woman's happiness is absolutely a monkfish kebab. Look, happy, happy. Oh, and Vino Verde doesn't help. Hurt. Mitch, David, Greg, you're going to enjoy this place. Probably I can make men happy as well. Uvidíme. So again in the sardine restaurant, we have local artist Ruth with us for dinner today. She hates her picture being taken. Potatoes, salad.
It's not Ruth, it's Rebecca.
I was hiding you.
You called me Ruth.
I was
twice
hiding you.
now, and I didn't mind.
And Vino Verde, of course.
Ruth.
Rebecca. No.
I
But the
don't
fish
mind.
here is amazing. It's imported because it's not seasonal at the moment. It's imported, fresh. No frozen shit in this restaurant. The area is horrible. It's industrial area, but the food is amazing. And actually Wednesday 6:30, Mitch and Greg, you have reservation here with me.
That night, sushi, which first time and was stunning. That's back on the tour.
So for lunch today in the GNO, Kilthead Bream. It's actually a small plate because we're going for the big dinner later. You'll get the choice of the final destination, and once again, Pital Beisha Damar is the restaurant the girls have chosen. I was up for Christina's, but hey ho, it's not about me, apparently. No. So always on the last night, the people get the choice of where they want to go, and fairly regularly it's this place, Pital Beisha Damar. And this one is the monkfish rice with shellfish and prawns. Shellfish rice, sorry. Wow. This is actually quite a big pot. Me, I went for the picana, which is a cut we don't get in England. It's off the leg of the cow. And this is the shoulder. This is the steak with ham, cream, and mushrooms somehow. Without the ham. Chips, salad, chips, salad, chips, salad. Oh my fucking god. Wow. Krasnoholka. Esti jedno Krasnoholka. Esti jedno Krasnoholka. I'm a very lucky guy. Back to work tomorrow with Greg and Mitch. Not Krasnoholki. So I brought the guys up to have a look at the reservoir. We've got all our licences all in one day. One benefit of them turning up early. But look at that, the ledge is now completely covered. There's no way you could even walk along it. As before, it was dry. Below it was dry. Now it's way up. I think we're probably about 70, maybe even 80% full. I've never seen this reservoir this deep. Amazing. Bit of colour still, but actually a lot of viz. I'm happy we're going to catch fish, but not here. The wind's a bit strong, so we're just going to get the wind on our backs. David, you're the only one left to come. Be excited. It's going to be a warm one. There's the weather in the UK just now. I see there's a bit of cloud about now. It's chilly. Dead low. This is straight in from the Atlantic Ocean out there. And in we come. One guy netting legitimately, apparently, allegedly. This guy, don't know what he's doing. Sandbar that they dig the sand off of. Exciting. So we've come off the beach. It was ripping through, very big tide today. Wind sprung up, was pushing the eelgrass onto our beach, which really aggravates everything, makes it all difficult. But while I'm coming along, you see it's a pretty boat here, and this small house. This one is actually available off season for £800 a week. You're not allowed to take the boat out either, that's an ornament. 800 a week on Mona Island. So if you want to do your own thing next year, it's a nice spot. Not sure I'd pay 800 though. So here we are again in the chicken shop, and again I'm enjoying the chicken. Some people went for the chicken, which is amazing.
Like chicken tonight. I'm on a diet still. Seafood.
This one's waiting for the prawns with pork. This one had the mixed meats, which is chicken, ribs and sausage. And she's a thief. She's a fucking thief, 100%. But I'm so happy. And the big difference, normally a fish this size from the sea, not from the aquaculture, would cost you a fortune. But in this restaurant, it really doesn't. It's an awesome price. Definition of a happy man is the man that has the pork with prawns in Cidade de Frango.
Conditions felt right for the next day to be out with Paolo again on Algarve Seaboat Tours, and it was a fantastic trip, I have to say. I'm not sure particularly why we fished the same areas. Maybe we're just getting better at the Dentex, but fishes we had.
Hey, it's not a brim. No, no, it's Dentex. Let me see. Very nice. Lovely. You can put on the pocket if you want it.
I think he's a big Dentex. Can you forward me that video as soon as you got it, Greg?
It's okay. It's to make fillet.
There it is. It comes. It's coming up. It's coming up.
Oh la la.
Big
Bom
Dentex.
peixe, bom peixe. Bom peixe. Um parque bom. Murta. Acho que é murta. É a murta.
Oh, it's not a Dentex.
No, it's the same species that I got in the other day.
Opa. Yeah, inside the boat. It's a good idea.
Just about to go out and change to lure fishing, actually.
Yeah, whatever. Okay. Get still of this for me, Greg, as well. Take him out in the sunlight. Nice Dentex. No, it's not. It's a Sargo, big Sargo. Wow. On the lure. First one I've seen on the lure. Amazing. Big Sargo. Let me get a still as well. Give it a turn. That's a lovely fish. Let's get him in. Oh, hang on. Let me... Wow. It actually looks like a lolligo Bessie. Let's get that, and then big squid, and then can you lift the box lid? Can you lift the lid for me, Sarah? So we're about 4 hours into the trip. Amazing. What a really, really different trip.
Cats being a feature. This is a feral. It's had its ear clipped. It's been neutered, and clearly it's loved and looked after by probably the restaurant there, back at the prawn restaurant for the prawn toasties. Mitch isn't a cat fan, so of course that's what cats do. They find the non-cat fan and convert them. Me, I prefer the dogs.
Back in Pitao Baixia de Mar, the most professional restaurant in Oliao, in my opinion. You missed the starters, they were amazing. And here's two very happy people. That is to share.
No, it isn't, it's mine.
Personally, I'd eat the lot.
Yes.
But actually, it's just David yet to come. You will be coming here. You will be fighting Mitch for this plate. The most professional kitchen in Oliao. Me, I'm on a light diet tonight. Oh, beautiful here. That's why so many bees here again. So we're up on the upper Odelet. It's a lot deeper than I've seen before. This is where we were trying to catch carp in the grass with Simon and John Parsons. It's filled up massively. It's also the home of the biggest bass I've ever caught, black bass. So we're going to fish this sort of area. We'll give it an hour, and then we'll move on to the main river. Visibility is much better up here, and that's why I've come, because this is the clean water feeding in, whereas all the old sediment water is back down in the deep areas where it's taking time to clear, but up here is a lot clearer. Looking good for you, David, for sure.
Well, this was actually the beginning of a bit of a revelation. With the warm sunshine and the reservoir increasing in size, I think with it coming up so fast and flooding everything, every bass in the reservoir was up the top here, eating the drowned slugs and things like that. Mitch happened to have his GoPro going, and he got this footage, which is pretty awesome.
Fish on! Little carp. I think. Might be a bass. It's a bass. About £3, maybe bigger.
That's a fucking beast.
Stalked him.
Where I caught my biggest one.
Stalked him. Just in there.
You saw it, did you?
I saw 3 of them.
Oh wow. I wonder if that's what I just saw. Okay, that's a beast. That's a proper big one. Nice. Sorry, I'm going to nip it. Wow. That's a real one.
Get in here, Greg. See that little margin there? Just there?
Yeah.
There was about 3 or 4 of them, just circling in there. What's that? 2.5?
I'll give you 3. It's fat. You see, it's about
Yeah.
row,
Nice. Nice looking fish.
For that all day long.
They're not a large species, which is why I take the light gear along for them. But wow, there's something about them. I get why the Americans love them. And that was the beginning of a change of everything.
Yeah, kind of out. Oh yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I want a picture of that still.
Pomona was starting to be less good, less productive. Again, as the season progressed, I think. This is Paradise Bar, where it's amazing. That's a weaver went buried. That's all you see if you're a fish before it takes you. Dock being dock. There's lots of reasons to go to Armona, and the fish is just a small one. But then we had another bad day of weather, so we decided to have a few drinks. This is Yizrina. She's a Czech barmaid in one of the bars. She won't be there next year, sadly. She's going with her young family back to Brno.
David, really now.
Back to the chicken shop.
This is pretty much the cheapest restaurant in Orléans, and definitely one of the best. You're going to love this place, David. We'll possibly come twice because the sushi bar shut down or something. I don't know. Seen it before and it was very obvious. So we're at the very top of the Odd Lake. This is the river that feeds the reservoir. And this is where I'm probably coming back, hopefully with John and Simon, to do dry fly barbel. We've just seen a nice barbel in the fast water. And they collect in the pools to spawn, and there's a pool there where we've also seen some fish rising. It's just bloody beautiful up here. Amazing. But we're not going to fish, we're going to go slightly further down, try and get Greggy's black bass before the rains come, because rain's coming later.
And boy, did the rain come. So we had a drinking day. We didn't do any more fishing. We had drinks. Greg did some shopping. He's teetotal. He did some shopping. Just me and Mitch and Yuzrina and the bar owner. We sat. Oh, and Malawi turned up. So we had a lovely afternoon getting drunk. Not something I do very often, I have to say, but when there's no rods to be fished, well, you might as well.
It's really not that bad. But look how many people aren't here. David, you're the last person to join the tour. Don't worry, because the next 7 days are now suddenly looking amazing. You're very lucky in many ways. But yeah, this is shit. So today we've come to Villarreal del San Antonio. Big, lovely light wind, but big swell running from 2-point-something metre swell. What a beach, eh? Although this is the light line tour, part of me wishes we had long rods and razorfish baits, because I'd be putting them out in that hole in the reef there, little depression in the sandbar. And on the left is the Guadiana, and across the other side is Spain. Beautiful day here, really warm. Sorry, Greg.
Greg had gone at this point, and we were just waiting to pick up David from the airport. We got our licenses checked. Lovely guys, a little bit of kerfuffle because we didn't actually have them with us, but we managed to send them via text later.
But we're getting earache from frog.
Then we went up the river, up the top of the estuary again, and this week was phenomenal for black bass.
For a mate. One largemouth so far. Stunning day. There's young David. And we go in this little creek here. Oh, we have one then. Frog galore.
Considering it was David's first day of fishing in Portugal, I think he must have thought it was better than it actually is, because this was a great day. That was a good one for me. That was an absolute belter, biggest one of the tour for David, and he followed it up with other big ones. There was something about that day. We didn't have lots and lots this day, but each day we caught more and more, because the sea not producing so well, we made the decision between us. Always it's a group hug and a group chat over beer. And we decided that, yeah, we'll do some sea fishing. And again, David was lucky there. He caught some bass. But really, the sea was going off by now, and it was much more about that reservoir and the black bass. The food, of course, always remains good regardless.
So this is above Canache, further up the Guadiana. One hell of a viewpoint this. Look how the rocks have all been sculpted by the river over the many years. Fucking lot of water here, more than perhaps I was expecting. But what an amazing place. Didn't bring anyone up here this tour, in part because of all the rain, and in part because it's barbel only really. Not a lot else up here. Pretty. David, Mitch. Cold up here as well. Grey, cold, a bit like England.
We gave it a good shot up here in the pools where you can fish. Had some nice runs through. The technique was working nicely, but there just wasn't any fish taking. Shame, real shame.
What do you think of Minas de San Domingos? It's quite good, isn't it? Bochachas. Probably the last trip here as well to Canache on the Guadiana Valley. Beautiful afternoon for the last trip, but as it gets warmer and there's more and more sunshine, so more and more people come here. Nets are out and people are fishing. Beautiful, hola. Beautiful time.
This is Caesar, the restaurant owner, plus Paolo, one of our favourite. And then we went back, and I think we had 16 bass on this day, black bass, which compared to the previous total of like 3 or 4 maximum, shows how it was cracking on. Lots of small fish as well now. I think more and more bass were working out that there was good free food going on up the top. Yeah, amazing. Like lots more action. I felt a lot happier as a guide. Cuttlefish strips, where are we here? Probably back in the GNO, I think. Yes, we are. Oysters for David there. Back to Facetta to fish there. Beautiful sunlight. And I think, yeah, Mitch finally got his first spotted bass on this session, which rather surprised him, as you can see by the look on his face. But again, you could feel the fish weren't there. It was perfect. The next morning, this is, and just the one schoolie on a perfect tide, and just the one schoolie. Had a look at the estuary further west. Even that didn't fish so well. So we hit the sushi that night, which was fantastic. And finished off with tiramisu at the Italian Cafe. Kind of a perfect day, even though there wasn't so much fish. Then Armona once more, Mitch's last day on Armona. Lovely halo going on there. There's David fishing up to the left, but big halo going on. Again, not so many fish, spider fit or weavers, but we got to see the people. We got to see Doc. We got to drink beer. We got to eat food. A smelt, which there's masses of, sand smelt, showing why the mighty minnows are so successful.
That was a bit emotional. Could be the last time we're there with on Armona this trip, this tour. Maybe Wednesday, maybe not. Fishing wasn't great. Fishing is great on the Barragem, so I'm guessing David will probably choose Barragem. But yeah, well, there's Armona. Quite sad to see it go. And it was a discovery, this tour. Hadn't ever been there before, and definitely not the last time I'll be there. Maybe I'll even die there.
I'm a bit of an anathema.
Note the smoke outside. Guess where we are?
No, I've just, for the 2 weeks I've been here.
Perhaps you guessed it.
No, his friend, Eugenia.
I think the last trip to the Barrasum this was, and we had no less than 30 fish between us, which was a great ending to Mitch's tour. He was off the next morning back to the UK on the earlier flight. I had to drop him up in fact, Eugenia took him up to the airport for me on her way to work. And that left David and I with the day, because our flight was quite late in the evening. Another brown carp, guyball carp, I think, on the shad mighty minnow, 5 gram mighty minnow. Everything eats everything there. Amazing.
This is why Vino Verde doesn't travel well. The effervescence would be dead by the time he gets to the UK. But if you want to try one in England, order Gatau from Amazon.
And that sadly was it, the end of the tour. David and I did go back to Armona in the end for the last day. Made sense, really, because it was close. And we had packing to do, sort the car out, get the car back, things like that. Sad to say goodbye to Doc, sad to say goodbye to Malawi and Johnny and all the people on the island. But all good things come to an end. We went to Pitel Beisha de Mar for lunch and had our final lunch there. Nice big surf and turf there. And tataki, all my favourite things. David went for the mixed fish grill, which was amazing. And we finished off with Raphael, the best cake ever. And that was it. Off to the airport. Bye-bye Portugal. Taking bookings now for Portugal 2026. Robin at fishyrob.co.uk.